What's up, spooky people? My name is Gritty and welcome to the Spooky Corner. And today we're going to be talking about the ghosts that haunt Disneyland. Disneyland is said to be the happiest place on earth. And for the most part, I mean, it probably is. They bring joy to little kids and adults alike with the rides and the characters. It's a pretty awesome place, I'm not gonna lie. But there is a scary side. I'm talking about scary as in ghosts. I mean, Disneyland's like 2,000 years old, so they obviously gotta have some ghosts walking around the park or riding the rides. And, well, people say that they do, so that's what we're gonna talk about today. So sit back, relax, and let's dig in to the ghosts of Disneyland. So I think it's only right that we start this off with the man that started it all, Walter Elias Disney. Now, if you don't know who Walt Disney is, you should be ashamed of yourself, because it's in the damn name. He's the man that started it all. Mickey Mouse, Disneyland, all the Disney stuff that you know and love. Walt Disney created it all. And even though Walt Disney died in 1966, people still believe that good old Walt is still in Disneyland. Now, if you don't know this story, you may know it or may not know it. It's a pretty famous story, but it's about the apartment of Walt Disney. And if you go down Main Street in Disneyland, right over the firehouse, there is an apartment that Walt Disney used to occupy when he was alive. And if you go there right now and look up in the window, there is a light on that remains on all the time. And it is in honor of Walt. Now, this light is on because when Walt was alive, he used to put this light on so everybody in the park knew he was around. So everybody, all the cast members would be on their best behavior. But as I'm about to tell you in the story, they didn't always keep this light on. Apparently, Walt Disney made sure that they did. And the story goes a little something like this. A couple of weeks after Walt Disney died, a maid was cleaning up his apartment. And she was wrapping it up and getting ready to get out of there, when all of a sudden, the light by the windowsill turned on by itself. She was like, what? So she went over there and turned it off. Maybe it's a glitch. I mean, she doesn't know what happened, so she just turned it off, right? And that's when she turned around to go about her day, and the light turned on again. So at this point, she walked over and turned the light off one more time, only to have it turn on for a third time. 3 times in a row, the light turned on, and then this is where the story says that she heard a voice say, "I'm still here." You tell him, Walt. Walt Disney is still the boss, and he was telling the maid, don't be shutting the damn light off because I'm still in the building. Now, I like this story because when I did my research on Walt Disney, I saw that he was like really hands-on and loved his company, and Disneyland was like his baby, right? Like, he put his money, his own resources into building this park when everybody said it was a crazy idea. So to me, where else would he be? He loved Disneyland, so you might as well stay there for eternity. Alright, now let's shoot over and take a ride on Space Mountain. But I gotta warn you, because if you go and ride Space Mountain, there is a good chance that you may be riding next to a ghost. More specifically, the ghost of a man that they call Mr. One Way. Mr. One Way is a ghost with red hair and a red face, who is said to sit next to Disneyland park goers on the Space Mountain roller coaster and actually ride the ride with them. They say Mr. One Way gets on the ride with people and nobody knows he's a ghost until about the end of the ride, right when they're about to take the picture. You know, when you're screaming the most, you're like, ah! And that's when the ghost of Mr. One Way disappears, and people pull into the station with nobody next to him. And not only have they seen this ghost on the ride itself, but people say that Mr. One Way also can be seen actually in the line for the ride. And staff members have said that while they're like getting ready and they're waiting for the next group to come in, they've seen Mr. One-Way in the building of Space Mountain and actually in the locker room, in the cast member locker room. So he's all over the place. Now, as much as we know about Mr. One-Way here, we don't know exactly who he is and how he died. All we know is that he must love Space Mountain because he rides that shit all day, all night. Now, there also is another ghost that is said to haunt the building of Space Mountain, and that is Disco Debbie. Now, with a name like that, I would assume that she'd have like a big cool afro, like a big fro, and some 70s clothes. But sadly, she doesn't. When I was reading about Disco Debbie, I saw that cast members have said that they see a beautiful woman with a bright green glow inside the building. People have said that they've seen her in the building floating around. And while I was online reading about Disco Debbie, I saw an ex-cast member say that they may have seen Disco Debbie at the corner of their eye while they were waiting for some more riders to come through. Now, legend has it Disco Debbie is a cast member who died many years ago. She was working at Space Mountain and it was closing time. It was time for everybody to go home. It was late at night, so she was getting ready. She was going back to the locker room, and next thing you know, pop, she had an aneurysm. She fell dead on the ground, and that was it for Debbie. But they say that she haunts the ride till this day, and I wonder why they call her Disco Debbie. I don't know. They didn't say why they call her that. Maybe it's because of her bright green glow. But when I picture Disco Debbie, I'm still gonna picture her with the sweet afro. Alright, now on to our next ghost of Disneyland, and that is the ghost of George. George is said to haunt the ride Pirates of the Caribbean, and this one is pretty famous. As I've been looking into these ghosts for a long time, I've always heard about George. George may be actually the most famous, I think. And a lot of people talk about George because he is known to cause technical difficulties on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. And basically, it's a ritual in Disneyland that the cast members have to say good morning to George, because if they don't, George will throw a bitch fit and cause trouble for the ride for the rest of the day. He'll make sure that the Disney cast members and the Disney park goers do not enjoy the Pirates of the Caribbean ride because nobody acknowledged his presence. Now, there is a backstory to George. It's not like too detailed, but George is said to be the ghost of a welder who died during the construction of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. They say he either fell or he was crushed by a set piece or something, but they say that he died on the ride and his spirit still remains, and he wants to be acknowledged. He wants people to say hello to him, or else he will cause the ride to stop, to stall, and even shut down, like temporarily or indefinitely for the day, because he's salty. Because he is salty. Alright, now let's pay a little visit to the Haunted Mansion. Ba-da-da, ba-ba, ba-da. You didn't think I would get through this video without talking about the Haunted Mansion, did you? Hell no. I mean, it's in the name, man. It's called the Haunted Mansion. And the Haunted Mansion is not only haunted by the 999 ghosts that the Disney Imagineers created, but it is supposedly also haunted by the real ghost of a little boy. And they call this boy the Crying Boy because that's exactly what he's known to do. Cast members and park goers alike say that they have seen a boy at the exit of the Haunted Mansion. Basically, when you're walking outside, they see a little boy crying. And when they walk up to try and console the kid or try and ask him what's wrong or help him out, he basically does one of two things. He either blows them off and acts like they're not even there, or he disappears, poof, right into thin air. Now, not only has this boy been seen by the exit of the Haunted Mansion, but people also say that they've seen this kid inside the ride itself. Some people say that they've seen him in the ballroom scene dancing around the ballroom, and then when they leave the ride, they call a Disney cast member and be like, and they're like, hey, there was a kid dancing around in the ballroom. But when the cast member goes in to see if there's anybody there, ain't no little boy there. Also, people have said that they have seen the little boy actually riding the ride with them. Kind of in the same vein as Mr. One Way, but not exactly, because they say that he's like in his own buggy, a couple of buggies ahead of you. And most notably, when I was doing some research on this haunted mansion crying boy, I saw on online that somebody told their ghost story, and he said that he went like in the beginning of the day, like right when Disneyland opened, and he shot right to the haunted mansion ride, and he was basically the only one riding the ride. Even the cast member acknowledged that he was the only one there. He was on the ride by himself, and he went through the haunted mansion. He was chilling out, just enjoying the show, and that's when he saw the face of a little boy peek out of one of the buggies ahead of him and smile at him. And he was kind of creeped out, but you know, maybe he slipped in when nobody was looking. So the guy ended up just kind of brushing it off, but when he went outside, he asked the cast member if any little boy got on the ride, and him and the cast member looked, and no little boy got out of a buggy. But this little boy has an interesting origin story. He is actually supposedly the son of a woman who threw her son's ashes in the Haunted Mansion ride. Now, story goes that years ago, a woman called Disneyland and asked if she can hold a little ceremony for her son and throw his ashes at the Haunted Mansion. And they were basically like, no. And she was like, oh, okay, yeah, no problem, whatever. And like a true great mom, she was like, I'ma do it anyway. So she went to the Haunted Mansion and threw her son's ashes all over the place. And now they say his ghost stays on the ride to this day. But if he's crying, then I guess, you know, maybe he doesn't want to be there. Maybe there is multiple boys, and that would make sense because the scattering ashes thing is kind of big in Disney. It's not only this woman who is said to throw her son's ashes in the Haunted Mansion, but many people are said to want to throw the ashes of their loved ones in Disneyland, and it is said to happen all the time. And Disney obviously frowns upon this. They do not want you to do this. Supposedly it's illegal, which I didn't know, and they have a protocol for this. So if you end up throwing the ashes of your loved one, then be prepared, because Disney is ready. Disney is onto you, and they have a vacuum ready to suck up the ashes of your loved one. So grandma or your son or your daughter or whoever you're throwing in the Haunted Mansion is probably not going to stay there. They're just going to end up in Mickey's vacuum. Also, this woman is said to have thrown the boy's ashes on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride as well. So our friend George may have some company. So next time you're on the Haunted Mansion ride and maybe you get a little dust in your eye or some dust in your mouth, it may not be dust at all. It may actually be somebody throwing some ashes and it just got blew back in your face. So let me know 6 feet deep below in the comment section which one of these was your favorite, and also let me know if you went to Disneyland and experienced any paranormal things. If you've seen any ghosts, please let me know, because I am dying to know. Now, I've never been to Disneyland. I've been to Disney World, but I cannot wait to go because I want to experience some of this paranormal stuff. I want to see the crying boy. Now, fun fact about me, I never actually rode the Haunted Mansion. When I went to Disney World a long time ago, I was a little kid, and my mom, well, my dad and my sister ended up going on the Haunted Mansion, and I ended up watching like there was some show, like it was like the Country Bear Jamboree, and I ended up watching that for like 2 hours straight because I was too afraid to go on the Haunted Mansion. But I can't wait to go back to Disneyland now because I ain't afraid to go on the ride now. So that is all the time I got today for the Spooky Corner. So make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and of course, come back next time for some more spooky stuff. Yeah, make sure you like this video, make sure you share it, because I need to start making money on YouTube, because I can't afford to go to Disneyland right now. I might end up starting a Patreon. Now, fuck Patreon, because I don't want to do no extra work. So I might start a GoFundMe. GoFundMe. Link in the bio for the GoFundMe. Get gritty to Disneyland.